Hey, what does Tifa make Cloud drink when he has a sore throat? Sepha broth. Alright, now that I have your attention, let's talk Final Fantasy. The year is 2022 and we've been blessed with quite a few Final Fantasy titles in recent years. We got the long-awaited Final Fantasy VII Remake in April of 2020, we got Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin in March of 2022, and all the while Final Fantasy XIV is still thriving with thousands upon thousands of players logging in daily. However, for this video, I want to take it back to before all those games, and make a pit stop in the year 2016. I am indeed talking about that Final Fantasy game which released on November 29th, 2016, the one, the only, Final Fantasy XV. This game is an action RPG developed by Square Enix. Having only played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I jumped into Final Fantasy XV knowing it's pretty much the only other Final Fantasy game that isn't turn-based and pretty old. Truthfully, the transition between 15 and 7 Remake is pretty seamless. The gameplay is pretty similar to that of Final Fantasy VII Remake, mashing melee attacks and mixing in spells and commands, just like how Cloud can command Tifa, Barret, and Aerith to do special attacks and such. Prince Noctis does the same in Final Fantasy XV by commanding Prompto, Ignis, and Gladio to give him a hand in battle. Oh yeah, I should probably introduce the crew of Final Fantasy XV before I start throwing names around, huh? The game focuses on a band of 4 guys traveling around on this massive road trip. The leader of the pack is Prince Noctis, and his main goal is to reclaim his kingdom that was invaded by the evil Empire. Basically like Star Wars. He's joined by Gladio, who basically acts as his personal bodyguard, Ignis, who is the brains and the strategist of the group, and Prompto, who's the goofball trying to prove his worth. Now, if you really have been following my channel for a while, you probably get why I'd have such an attachment to this game. Having done all my meetups with the N10 crew, especially the road trip itself down the east coast of the United States, I just felt a personal connection to this game right off the bat. The boys are out traveling and making memories, even if N10 was traveling to make content, while the Final Fantasy XV guys are out killing monsters and saving their kingdom. But hey, you get what I mean. A journey is really what you get in this game, as in the early chapters of the game, you're basically just thrown out into the open world to explore and create your own journey. There's plenty of monsters to defeat in the overworld, hundreds of side quests to give you bonus experience to level up, and each of the 4 guys has their own unique skill that levels up based on how much you focus on it in the overworld. Noctis loves to fish, so if you hit one of the various fishing spots on the map and fish, he levels up his fishing skill. Ignis loves to cook, so when you go to a campground and let Ignis prepare a meal, his cooking skill levels up. Gladio's skill is based on survival, and this skill only levels up as you walk around on foot around the map. This one is surely a grind, and driving the regalia or riding a chocobo will not count towards leveling up this skill, so make sure to make tracks, as Noctis likes to say. And lastly, Prompto's skill is photography, so as he takes more pictures along your journey, whether automatically taken or manually taken by the gamer, his skill will also level up. This skill especially made my journey special since I love cameras in real life, and Prompto basically documents all the moments across your wild adventure. Now, I won't spoil the story in this game, although the game is like 6 years old now, but the story is pretty captivating and pulls you into absolutely loving the characters. I mean, it is Final Fantasy after all, so the lore will be a little confusing and hard to follow, but you'll be emotionally invested and it makes you want to keep playing. There are plenty of twists and turns, as well as ups and downs for the group of 4. By the time you reach the later levels and endgame, you'll genuinely feel like you've been through so much, and it feels like you're almost recreating part 3 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But alright guys, I'm gonna end the video here and continue playing Final Fantasy XV since there is just so much content at hand. The Royal Edition of the game is actually included for free on PlayStation 5 when you buy the console, and that includes all of the DLC, along with some other free goodies. Have you played Final Fantasy 15, and what did you think of it? If you haven't played yet, do you plan on playing after seeing this video? Let me know in the comments below. Until the next one, fam, stay RaDuhKewl, drink your Cepha broth, and peace out.
I come from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job, but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box, nobody telling me what I should rock.